this session, briefly we are going to discuss about some of the major concepts that are related to the heredity. And these concepts are also very important for the common examination point of view. So hence, let us try to discuss the remaining concepts. So our next concept is parent to progeny. So you know that Mendel hypothesized that characters are moving from parent generation to offsprings, hence it is called as a heredity. So the process in which the characters are moving from parent generation to offsprings is called as a inheritancy. So in this lesson or in this concept, what are the major important questions generally important for final examinations or common examination point of view we are going to discuss. 2 marks question, very important. What do you mean by parent to progeny? How can you understand the concept parent to progeny? What do you mean by a parent? What do you mean by a progeny? Progeny is nothing but offsprings. The parents are nothing but parent generation. So hence the characters are moving from parent generation to offsprings is called as a heredity. So the process in which characters are moving from parent generation to offsprings is considered as the inheritancy process. So in the previous class we have learnt that Mendel dihybrid cross. As per the Mendel hypothesis, during dihybrid cross ratio, the law of segregation, law of independent assortment was proved. For a pair of characters or for a particular characters, alleles are segregating on the DNA, alleles were separating, alleles were arranging as per their characters. So here these alleles are nothing but, as per Mendel hypothesis, alleles are nothing but factors, they are chemical substances. So hence, if you see how do traits gets expressed, for that Mendel gave a clear cut conclusion about the traits expressions. As per the Mendelian hypothesis, traits gets expressed by with the help of chemical factors or chemical substances, namely genes. As I said to you on yesterday's class, gene is the term given by a scientist, namely Wilhelm Johansen. Wilhelm Johansen, a great scientist who gave the term a gene. Gene is considered as a structural and functional and fundamental unit of the DNA. So here, if we take how these traits are moving from parent generation to offsprings, with the help of alleles, the traits or characters are passing from parent generation to offsprings. These alleles are located on the specific locations called loci or gene loci. The genes are located on the DNA, specific locations called gene loci. So in the year 1953, the detailed structure of DNA was given by a major scientists, namely James Watson and Robert Crick. In 1953, the James Watson and Robert Crick gave a double helical structure for the DNA that was there in the nucleic acids. You know that nucleic acids were present inside the nucleus. What is a nucleus? Nucleus is considered as a brain of the cell. Why? Because necessary genetic information, necessary memory that is stored inside the nucleic acid, that nucleic acids are present inside the nucleus. So the detailed structure of DNA double helical structure was explained by James Watson and Robert Crick. 2 more scientists were there, namely Franklin and Maurice Wilhelms. There are two more scientists, namely Franklin and one more scientist is Maurice. Franklin and Maurice. Who are these Franklin and Maurice? The Franklin and Maurice, they studied the DNA structure with X-ray photography or X-ray crystallography. The X-ray crystallography, it's one of the major important study that explains the nature of a DNA. So hence, the nature of DNA was explained by Franklin and Maurice Wilkins. Hence, Maurice Wilkins and the Franklin, along with the James Watson and Robert Crick, combinedly awarded with the Nobel Prize. So if you see the structure of a DNA, how does it looks like? The DNA is a double helical structure. What is the full form of DNA? What is the full form of DNA? Here I will write it. See, the full form of DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid. The full form of DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid. Generally, the DNA had a specific structure like this. There are two helicals are there in the DNA. These two helicals are made up of sugar and phosphates. What type of sugar you found in the DNA? The sugar which you found in the DNA is ribose sugar. Ribose sugar is also one of the carbohydrate. What type of ribose sugar is? Deoxyribose sugar, which means one oxygen atom is absent or reduced in the ribose sugar. Hence, these kind of ribose sugars are called as a deoxyribose sugars. If you see the length of DNA, that is about 3.4 nanometers. If you see the width of DNA, that is about 2 nanometers. If you see the one helical of DNA, if you see the length of one helical of DNA, the one helical of DNA and its length is about 0.34 nanometers. So this is the length and width of a DNA that were given by the James Watson and Robert Crick. As for Franklin and Maris Wilkins studies with X-ray crystallography, there are some nitrogenous bases that are seen in between the ribose sugar molecules as well as phosphate molecules. So hence, here these components are considered as a nitrogen bases. What are they called as? Nitrogen bases. These nitrogen bases are such as like adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine and uracil. Let me write the names of those nitrogenous bases that are seen in the. Here we are learning the nitrogenous bases that I mentioned in between the ribose sugar molecules as well as phosphate bonds. So here these nitrogenous bases are considered as a backbone of the DNA. So our backbone plays an important role in our day-to-day living activities. What is the importance of backbone in our day-to-day life? It gives support, mechanical support or mechanical insistibility to our body. Hence, without backbone we can't survive. Hence, like that, the nitrogen bases that are seen in the DNA double helical structure, they are playing a key role in the stability of DNA as well as they gives mechanical support to the DNA molecule. So the nitrogen bases are such as so these are the different nitrogen bases that are seen in the DNA nitrogen bases. So these are considered as the backbones of the DNA molecule. So the components like adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine and uracil. So that I was mentioned with colors in between the ribose phosphate molecules. So these color substances are considered as the nitrogen bases. So in specific locations of the DNA in between the nitrogenous bases, there are some gene segments are present. The gene segments generally contains paired structures called as alleles. Hence, these alleles generally along with the DNA from parent generation to offsprings they were moving. So hence, DNA is responsible for whole and soul. The DNA is responsible for heredity or inheritance process. So how it is possible? What is the origin of DNA? Let us see here. So each DNA molecule or each DNA fragment that was originating or born from the specific structure of a nucleus, that is called as a chromosome. So during a cell division process, from each strand of chromosome, one DNA segment comes out. How it is possible? Let us see the parts of chromosomes first, then after that how the chromosome is responsible for inheritance process we are going to learn in the next concept. If you see the structure of a chromosome, the center of the chromosome is called centromere, and the branches of chromosome is called as a chromatids. Center of the chromosome is called centromere and the branches are called as a chromatids. During cell division process, from each chromatid a strand of DNA comes out. Only one strand of DNA comes out. So like this, with the help of replication process or regeneration process, the two single strands of DNA helical to each other or connected to each other and forms a single strand of DNA called as a deoxyribose nucleic acid, or double stranded or double helical deoxyribose nucleic acid. So as per the other scientists and their hypothesis, chromosomes are responsible for the inheritance or heredity. How it is possible? Who are the scientists? Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. As per these scientists and their observation, they have done much contribution about the chromosomal studies. They have studied about chromosomes and they gave a clear information about the chromosomes, that chromosomes were responsible for the inheritance process. They were explained about chromosomal inheritance in a fruit fly called Drosophila melanogaster. In which fruit fly? Namely, a fruit fly called Drosophila melanogaster. At Columbia University, they have completed their study upon Drosophila melanogaster about chromosomal theory of inheritance, which is also known as sex-linked inheritance. So let us see the contributions of Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. So let us see the explanations and hypothesis of Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. For that, we have some important points and basic points which we have to learn about the chromosomes. So as per these scientists, they hypothesized that chromosomes were responsible for the process of inheritance. Hence, they proposed a theory called chromosomal theory of inheritance. So in a fruit fly called or in an insect called Drosophila melanogaster, they completed or they hypothesized that chromosomes were responsible for this kind of inheritance. As per their hypothesis, there were 23 pairs of chromosomes are present in each cell. How many chromosomes are there? As per their hypothesis, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes are present in each cell. In these 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs of chromosomes are called as autosomes, and a pair of separate chromosomes which are considered as allosomes. Autosomes are also called as somatic chromosomes that are present in responsible for somatic organs. Allosomes are also called sex-linked chromosomes that are generally present in the gametes such as like sperm cell and ova. Hence, however, somatic chromosomes that are seen in the somatic organs that are also called autosomes. So, if you see here, autosomes are also called as somatic chromosomes. How many autosomes are there? There are 22 pairs of autosomes were there. If you take one more pair of chromosomes that are called as allosomes, which are also known as sex-linked chromosomes that are present in the gametes. So, hence there are 46 chromosomes are present. Among these 46, 44 chromosomes are autosomes and a pair of chromosomes are called as allosomes or sex-linked chromosomes. So, any chromosome it is, from each strand of chromosome, one strand of DNA generally comes out. So, let us see the hypothesis of Walter Sutton and also Thomas Hunt Morgan during the hypothesis of sex-linked inheritance or chromosomal theory of inheritance. As per Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan, they identified the two different types of chromosomes. I drawn the two different types of chromosomes that were explained by the Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. First set of chromosomes that are XY chromosomes and second set of chromosomes that are XX chromosomes. So, these two different types of chromosomes are called as allosomes. So, they are very good examples for allosomes. Generally, XX type of allosomes are seen in the mother or mother gametes. Mother gametes generally contains XX type of chromosomes. If we see the XY type of chromosomes that are seen in the father, during fertilization, if the baby shares Y chromosome from the father, X chromosome from the mother, the baby will become into baby boy. Why? Because as per Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan, Y chromosome is responsible for sex determination in human beings. Which chromosome is responsible for sex determination? The Y chromosome, that is a specialized chromosome that only seen in the father allosomes. Hence, Y chromosome is responsible for sex determination. If during fertilization, if baby shares X chromosome from mother and also X chromosome from the father, hence the baby will become into baby girl. So what I am trying to say, the sex determination in human beings under the control of allosomes, under the control of allosome. So this is the hypothesis that was given by the Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunter Morgan. If you see the cross in between XX and XY type of chromosomes, then easily we can understand how does this sex determination takes place in human beings. So let us see the cross, or let us see the fertilization that takes place in between XX and XY type of chromosomes. So within the form of a small imaginary structure, I want to explain the exchange of chromosomes in between mother as well as in between father gametes. Suppose imagine a set of or a pair of chromosomes that are seen in the father, indicated by XY type of chromosomes, and a set of chromosomes that was seen in the mother, a set of allosomes that was seen in the mother, indicated by XX type of chromosomes. During embryonic development or during cell divisions or during fertilization only, if baby shares X chromosome from father and also X chromosome from the mother, the baby will become into baby girl. Baby girl. If baby shares Y chromosome from father and X chromosome from mother, and the baby will become into baby boy. So, however, Y chromosome plays an important role in the determination of sex in a baby during the cell division process or after the fertilization during embryonic development. Generally, we can consider in between this time. So, this is the chromosomal theory of inheritance that was explained by the scientists, namely Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. Generally, Y chromosome belongs to androsperm. Androsperm, which means Y chromosome is present inside the sperm. Androsperm means male sperm. So, if take the X chromosome that belongs to mother, which means the ova. X chromosome belongs to ova or ovules. So, hence the X chromosome does not play an important role during sex determination. Y chromosome had a specific role in the determination of a sex. So, Y chromosome is called as androsperm, X chromosome is called as the ova. Hence, in between X chromosome and Y chromosome, there are differences are there, or there is a structural difference, there is a functional difference in between X chromosome and Y chromosome. So, this is the common hypothesis was given by the Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. How can you define the X chromosomes? The chromosomes which are morphologically same and functionally same. If the chromosomes that are morphologically same, functionally same, such kind of chromosomes are called as X chromosomes. If you take the Y chromosome, it is structurally different, functionally different. Hence, Y chromosome is not belongs to the X chromosome category. So, I want to give the definition for X chromosomes. So, chromosome whose number is morphologically and do not differ, in between father and mother. The chromosome number whose do not differ morphologically in between mother and father, such kind of chromosomes are called as X chromosomes. So, but the chromosomes which are morphologically differ from mother to father, such kind of chromosomes are called as Y chromosomes. The Y chromosome only seen in the father sperm or androsperm, or in a male gamete we only can see the Y chromosome that is responsible for the sex determination. So, this is the clear cut hypothesis that was given by the Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan, and this theory also universally accepted by other scientists all over the world. Hence, the chromosomal theory also successful in the explanation of inheritancy or heredity. Thank you very much for watching, Nana.